Here at the Turku Ice Hall, the referee this afternoon, Jarmo Jalarvo of Finland. The linesmen are also Finns, Peter Pumel and Pekka Rindell. In goal for Team Canada is Craig Billington. Played with the Belleville Bulls, a #2 draft choice of the New Jersey Devils. And he has proven to be the key goaltender for the Canadian team throughout this tournament. At the other end of the rink, in goal for the Soviets, is Evgeny Beloshikin. He is in his second World Junior Tournament. As a matter of fact, last year in the World Junior Tournament, he was named the All-Star goaltender. So the two teams with undefeated records, 4 wins, no losses, face each other here at the Turku Ice Hall. This will be the 3rd time that Canada has played here. And this Canadian team, John Davidson, appears to be ready for this battle with the Soviets.
They certainly are, Don. A very, very emotional hockey club. Even in the pregame warm-up, they were skating around, looking at these Russian players. They were staring at them, talking to them in English. Very emotional.
Hodgson, the team captain, shoots it in. Posmetьев of the Soviet Union, the big defenseman, dropped it off into the corner. The Soviets like to use that 5-man unit at all times. Tatarинов, who has been drafted by Washington, his defensive partner. Now Chernik works in across the line. Chernik trying to control things, looking to feed it back to the point. Nobody was in position. It slides down the ice.
Don, one thing the Canadians want tonight is a 60-minute hockey game. One thing about the Russians, they don't slow down. They keep that tempo up as long as possible. The Canadians have to play a solid 60 minutes.
Coach Terry Simpson was saying that there really is not one unit that stands out more so than the other for the Soviets. Now it's Hodgson getting the puck, feeding it out front, and it just hopped over the stick of Dan Grattan. The Canadians keeping it in that Soviet zone. So far, there hasn't been much in the way of contact as it's cleared out into the center ice area. Selmar Odelein being forced back into his own zone. He feeds it across the ice for John Miner. Miner plays it off the boards and down into Soviet territory. This will produce an icing call as it's touched by the Soviets.
One thing Terry Simpson wants, he's the head coach of the Canadian Hockey Club. He's going to play 4 lines early in the hockey game. He wants the shifts to be very, very short because he thinks it's going to be a fast-paced hockey game. And as we said earlier, they're going to rotate 5 defensemen. Now, last night they played the Americans, and it was a good bumping hockey game. So that's why I think they're going to start with the 4 lines early.
The face-off to the left of Craig Billington in goal for the Canadian team. We have played 1 minute and 16 seconds of this opening period. Cleared across that Canadian goal mouth, now dumped up along the boards into the center ice area. Nikitin in the center ice area. He's upset by Jackson. A penalty coming up against the Canadian team. This is something that Terry Simpson did not want to do, get into a hole early, but the Canadian team is going to be playing a man short for the next 2 minutes with Jackson going off.
Well, the penalty killing so far in this tournament for the Canadians has been very good, but of course they haven't had to play the Soviets, Don. Now, their penalty killing is going to be a different style than what most people are used to. Their 2 defensemen are going to be down in front of the goaltender and stay like a traditional box as far as the bottom part goes. Up top, they're going to play 2 players moving back and forth. Watch Jeff Jackson move right across. Now, this is a penalty in the neutral zone. He sticks his knee out, his leg out, and a good call by the official.
Now it's Kravchuk back into his own zone to Nikitin.
Now, Don, we can see here, nobody's going to go in and force the Russians. They're going to let them come out. They don't want to get trapped.
Russians are forced back into their own zone. Bob Basson, son of former National Hockey League goaltender Hank Basson, out there doing a penalty-killing job for the Canadians. Fired in, intended for Kadyrov, but it's an icing call against the Soviets.
One thing about the Soviet coach, Kiselev, is on this particular power play, he's going to find, as I said earlier, the Canadians playing a different type of a penalty kill. The Canadians want to take away that pass across the middle through the slot area in front of the Canadian goal. And whether the Soviets are going to adapt to that, I don't know. We'll see.
1 minute and 30 seconds remaining in the penalty to Jackson. From the face-off, the Soviets go back of their own goal. Tatarинов Feeds it across to Semak. Semak working in across the line. He's upset the loose puck. Picked up by the Soviets. Grushenko. Grushenko working to the corner. As Semak broke his stick, he had to go back to the bench for a replacement. At the side of the goal, they try and feed it in front. It bounces to the boards. Back to the point to Taterinov. Taterinov flips it into the corner.
Don, this is what I meant by the diamond up high. They've got one forward up high, and then the other one forward can move, and the two defensemen staying down low to clear that front of the net.
Grushenko takes the shot that goes off a stick into the corner. The Canadians trying to tie it up along the boards. Now it goes in back of the net. Rasko for the Soviets. Feeding it in front, and Semak was unable to deflect it. It goes to the boards. Grushenko endeavoring to keep it in. He's bumped. The Canadians get the puck, and it's cleared down the ice by John Miner.
Great penalty killing so far. They haven't given up a shot on goal. Now, don't forget the Russians won't take a lot of shots. They're going to try and get that high-profile shot.
Just 11 seconds remaining in the penalty to Jackson. Loose puck in the corner. The Soviets come up with it, trying to get it back to the point. It's poked away. Barry goes into the corner, flips it to the other side. Selmar Odeline flipped it around the boards, then lost control of it, going into the corner. The Soviets trying to feed it back to the point. Posmetiev flipped it into the corner. The Soviets unable to get a shot away as the Canadians are back at full strength. Now it's Rasko going into the corner. Rasko feeds it back to the line. As they tried to get it back to the point, it slid out into the neutral zone. 16:05, the time remaining. Here's an opportunity for Kamensky. Takes the shot, and it slides wide. He was being harassed as he tried to move in on the Canadian goal. Loose puck in the Canadian zone, and now they break out, led by Jackson. Jackson tried to go around Posmetiev, and Posmetiev grabbed that loose puck, circled back of his own goal, flips it up on the boards. He takes the check in the center ice area, but got it ahead to Chernik. Chernik is ridden out of the play by Bobby Dallas as the puck goes loose and around the goal. And now it's Jackson circling back in his own zone and then playing it off the boards and down the ice. This will produce an icing call against the Canadians as it's touched by the Soviet player Taterinov.
Don, that's a smart thing to do. Ice the puck if you have any doubt on your own zone. Line changes are very important. The Soviets will take advantage of these things as quickly as possible. Greg Billington in goal for the Canadians. Lots of movement during that last killing of the penalty, but no shots on goal. And he actually likes getting shots early. You know, he played junior with the Belleville club, and they have a large ice surface there, very similar to this surface, and that's one of the reasons why he's playing goal for the Canadian team.
Well, for many Canadian teams, adapting, of course, to the larger ice surface poses some problems. Coach Terry Simpson, as he was telling us this morning, John, feels quite comfortable on the larger ice surface. Now it's Nikitin working to the corner, still controlling it, feeding it out front, and a shot right on by Kaidarov, and Billington got a piece of that and flipped that to the corner. Now the Canadians come back for Bradley on the right side, and he was just a stride offside.
Now, you could see that last play. The Russians had the puck in the slot, didn't really direct it that well towards the net. They can't let that thing happen. There we take a look at Jeff Jackson. See the face mask he's wearing? The team has to wear those. It's a rule to do with this tournament. And they had the option of either wearing the wire masks or the glass mask like that, the clear mask. They voted for the clear mask, and they've had no problem so far with the fogging up, but it gets very hot on the inside.
Puck goes in back of the Soviet net. Kravchuk flipped it up along the boards. It slides all the way down the ice, and going back after it is Barry. Barry, who attends the University of North Dakota, a draft choice of the Winnipeg Jets. Puck comes out to the line now. It's fed ahead as Stefan Richer plays it into the corner. Johnson dodges the check there from Nikitin. Johnson comes up with that puck. Johnson still controlling it. Has it in that Soviet zone. Gets it rink wide to Miner. Miner moving in. Takes the shot and it goes wide. Barry pinching in from the point. Unable to keep that puck in the Soviet zone as the Soviets flipped it back into Canadian territory. Now the Canadians moving in their own zone, trying to get it out of there. It's dumped up along the boards by Miner. Grushenko tried to shoot it back in. It was picked off by Stefan Richer. Over on the wing to Barry. He shoots it into the Soviet zone. Taterinov up along the boards. Papageyev tried to get it out of there, and finally it deflects back into Canadian territory, and Bob Dallas is back for Team Canada. Dallas takes a check from Taterinov as he dumped it down into the Soviet zone. And the pass, as it was touched, an offside call against Canada.
Terry Simpson was unhappy last night in the American game with his center icemen's work on their face-offs. They lost at least 90% in the first period. So what he's got them doing tonight, a little more so, is neutralizing the other center icemen. He feels his center icemen are stronger than the other clubs. If they neutralize those center icemen, they'll be able to try and control the puck maybe with one arm, or kick it ahead, or kick it back to their players.
From the face-off, it goes back into the Canadian zone. It's scoreless with 13:42 remaining in this opening period. Really not a good scoring opportunity so far for either side. Now it's Selmar Odeline circling in the center ice area, working in across the line, and the offside whistle as Jim Sandlack was ahead of the play on the right wing.
Selmar Odeline going to get a lot of ice time tonight, a very high draft choice. Back in the first round of the Edmonton Oilers. He was hurt in training camp with the Edmonton Oilers last year. Not many penalty minutes, but he's strong and plays his size to his advantage.
Odeline, a native of Quill Lake, Saskatchewan. And you can see, as John pointed out earlier, those plastic face shields loosened at the bench each time they come off. They have had some problems growing accustomed to breathing with that mask on. Now in across the line, Semak is knocked down in the corner. The puck goes around to the other side, and it's picked up by Yves Baudouin as he clears it off the boards to center ice. 13 minutes remaining in this opening period. Papageyev drops it off for Semak. Semak working to the line, trying to go around Baudouin, and it's poked away from him, and Team Canada starts back. A lead pass just a little too far for Hodgson. Beloshakin coming out of his net to play it. Baudouin gets it back at the point. His shot just went wide. Svershov shoots it out into the center ice area with 12:37 remaining in this scoreless first period. It's dumped back in by the Canadians.
Don, what chances the Canadians have been wide against the boards, those type of shots? They need to create better angles, because this is a real wide ice surface.
Bradley brings it in for Canada, but Sandlack and Bratton were trapped offside as Bradley brought it down the ice.
Brian Bradley had a terrific training camp with the Calgary Flames this year. One of the last cuts from the squad. He very nearly made Bob Johnson's hockey club. Cliff Fletcher's very high on him. He was injured actually towards the end of training camp, but he's attending college, majoring in computers. Very smart young man. He's also got 7 goals in this tournament. He and Adam Creighton are tied for the scoring lead.
Adam Creighton, number 11, a 3-goal performance last night in that 7-5 victory over the United States. Miner with a long drive. It's gloved by Beloshakin, and he holds on for a face-off with Creighton racing in looking for a rebound.
We talked about Brian Bradley leading the team in scoring, also along with big Adam Creighton, and he is so big and strong, and he showed his ability to come back and have a good third period last night. He was benched partly through the second period, not much ice time, was not playing with a lot of emotion, came out in the third period and really sparkled. And they tell me before tonight's game he was in the dressing room, wound up tight as a rope and ready to play.
Back to the point for Miner. He winds up, and a pad saved by Beloshakin, and the puck ricochets back into the neutral zone. Now it's Creighton flipping it in. Going back after it is Grushenko. He dumps it out to center ice. 12:02, the time remaining in a scoreless first period. This is game 5 of the tournament for both teams. They have identical records, 4 wins and no losses. A whistle on an offside pass in the center ice area produces a faceoff.
Terry Simpson was talking about what type of a system he's going to play against the Soviets. He says we're going to try and send the first man in deep, or checking right on the man with the puck. The second man, we don't want to send him too deep. We want him to anticipate where the puck's going to go. And our third forward has to be high, because if you give up those key 3-on-2s to the Soviets, they'll fill a net.
Face-off just inside the Canadian line. There's a shot that sails wide, picked up in behind the net by Kamensky. Back to the line to Posmetiev. His shot is high over top of the Canadian goal. Corson flips it down the ice, a race for the puck, and it's picked up by Stefan Rischer. But the Soviet defender got back to poke it away from him. Richer again working from the corner, moving it out front. A shot, and it just goes wide. Greg Johnson with a great opportunity, just fired it wide. Now Corson trying to set up as it was fed back to him in the slot. He was knocked off balance by the Soviet defender, and it's flipped back to center ice. Back to the line as the Canadian team tries to keep it in. It bounces out across the line and then is fired back in offside by Stefan Richer.
We can see how important this tournament is. One of the players for the Soviets is on the bench right now having his shoulder taped. They want to win this game, I'm sure. Shane Corson always dreamed of playing for Team Canada. Now he has his chance. Another first rounder and a good, tough corner man, big, strong kid.
Like a number of players on this Team Canada roster already drafted by the National Hockey League. Corson was #1 pick by the Montreal Canadiens in the 1984 draft. He was 8th overall. Now into the center ice area. Semak tries to drop it off. It's flipped out into the neutral zone by Sandlak. Picked up along the boards by Miner. He takes the check from Papagayev as the puck slides back into Soviet territory. Right wide pass, hops over the stick. Svershov racing after it. Miner got there first and poked it up along the boards. To the line. Not out, however, as the Soviets do some forechecking. Papagayev working to the corner, trying to feed it across into the slot. It bounces off a stick. The Soviets get it back. They take a shot that goes wide. 10:23 the time left in this first period. No score in the game between Canada and the Soviet Union.
John, they talk about deficiencies always in hockey clubs, and they say for Team Canada, they say they're bad defensively, especially their defensemen in their own zone, but so far they've shown some pretty good speed and skating out there and covering up for each other.
And our coverage of this Canada-Soviet game at the World Junior Championships will continue after this. Face-off to the right of the Soviet goaltender. He has had only a couple of saves really to make in this opening period. And at the other end, Billington hasn't really been tested either. Teams playing a very close checking style of game so far. Loose puck in the Soviet zone. Nikitin gets it out into the neutral area. To Chernik. Chernik in across the line to Kamensky, and Kamensky is knocked off the puck. Bringing it back for the Canadians is Hodgson. He flips it down into the Soviet zone. Beloshakin leaves it there for Nikitin. Nikitin dumping it up along the boards for Kamensky. Too far for him. It slides all the way back into the Canadian zone. And an icing call against the Soviets as Grattan got back there first to touch it.
An interesting assessment by Coach Terry Simpson of the Russians. He said, we're going to do basically what Glenn Sather's Canada Cup team did, and we're going to go right at them. We're not in awe of this Russian hockey club. We don't think they're better than we are. We're going to go right at them, try and keep them on their heels.
9:31 the time remaining in this scoreless first period. The face-off in the Soviet zone. Adam Creighton scored a goal last night against the United States directly from the face-off. Now it's Grushenko moving out for the Soviets, shooting it in. Racing in after, there's Torkeyev. He's taken heavily into the boards by Odoline. It's flipped up along the other side, kept in at the point by Krebchuk. His shot hits the skate, bounces down the ice. A race for the loose puck. Bradley going after it, flipping it across for Creighton, and he couldn't get it. It bounced over his stick as they raced after that loose puck deep in Soviet territory. Now the Soviets come back. A long lead pass, too far for Novoselov. It's still loose in that Canadian zone, however, and Creighton comes up with it for Canada. Big center iceman who played his junior hockey with the Ottawa 67s brings it in across the line, but a Canadian player was ahead of the play offside.
So on a couple of times this period, we've seen the Russians shoot the puck deep into the Canadian zone from the Russian side of center ice. In other words, it would be an icing if Canada had touched the puck first, but the Russians have that as a set play. Their wingers stay wide, they're skating full speed, and twice in that last shift it worked, and it's not a bad theory with this big ice surface again.
Bobby Dallas plays it off the boards into Soviet territory. Beloshakin stops it in behind the net for Posmetiev. All the scouts here, and there are many of them like the big Soviet defenseman.
Boy, there certainly is. There are scouts all over the place from the National Hockey League. In fact, some of them rented a bus yesterday in Helsinki to get here to Turku. It's about a 3-hour drive, and there was 17 scouts on that bus. And they've had their pictures in the papers around here and everything, celebrities of sorts.
In the center ice area, the pass picked off by Stefan Richer. He fired it into the Soviet zone, then the Soviets dump it right back out. Bobby Dallas trying to set things up as he goes back into his own zone for Corson with Richer, and he was ahead of the play offside.
Now, as we take a look at Stefan Richer, he was hit last night by one of the American players. He was blindsided. They carried him off the ice. He came back in the third period, got the winning goal, woke up this morning with a badly bruised shoulder. They took him to the hospital. He had x-rays. But with the heart of this kid, he wants to play, and he's showing no ill effects as he's stick handling pretty well.
8 minutes the time remaining in the first period here at the ice hall in Turku.
Don't be scared to dump a little more, guys. You're standing us
This
up
is
at
the third straight game that the Canadians have played in Turku. They now move on to Helsinki for the final 2 games in the tournament. They play Czechoslovakia and Finland in Helsinki. And that game against Czechoslovakia on New Year's Day will also be seen on CBC television. Puck dumped deep into Canadian territory. Selmar Odeline plays it ahead to Grattan into the center ice area. Now Wendell Clark, a long drive that just goes wide. Clark let go a big shot last night that tied the score at 4 early in the third period against the United States. He has been used as a winger here, although in junior hockey, primarily he's a defenseman. Basson lets a shot go that sails wide. Picked up off the end boards by the Canadians. Back for Basson. Basson winding up. He scores!
Well, you can see emotion in this building by some of the Canadian fans, and the entire Canadian bench empties as Bobby Basson blasted that shot. Now, what happened when he shot this puck, Clark skates in front of the net. The Russian goaltender dropped right to his knees, and he was absolutely screamed on it, so it was good team play by the Canadians. They controlled the puck offensively. The shot was on the net. Now, we'll watch number 6, Wendell Clark, go behind the net, and then once the puck comes into the slot, he's going to go right in to that crease area. Here's the shot. You can see Clark in front, and 1-0 Canadians.
Well, the first goal, an important goal for the Canadian team, as Basson gives the Canadians a 1-0 lead. Posmetiev working into the corner. He's knocked off the puck. It goes loose. The Soviets feed it out front. Turgeyev to Kravchuk. His shot goes wide. Posmetiev pitching in from the point. That puck still loose in the Canadian zone. Finally, it's dumped up along the boards. A race for the puck. Lemieux trying to get it over for Grattan, and Grattan couldn't quite reach it. It's still loose in the Soviet zone. Fed out front. Here's a chance for Canada. They score! Backhand shot by Dan Hodgson. Some sloppy work by the Soviets in their own zone, something we're not used to seeing from this Soviet team, and Canada took advantage.
The bigger, stronger Canadians do take advantage. They keep emptying that bench when they score goals with a good feelings, but watch this goal when Hodgson scores. He shows a lot of patience. Now, Hodgson was in front of the net. He got control of the puck. This goaltender, the scouting report on the Russian goaltender was he likes to drop down quite a bit. So what happened was Hodgson got the puck and he held on and he held on. The goaltender dropped. Hodgson went right around and put it in the top corner. And Canadians are up by 2 goals.
Well, the patience of the team captain. As he took that puck at the side of the Soviet goal, he waited until Beloshikin committed himself before putting that backhand in there.
Well, he's a Toronto Maple Leaf draft, and I'm sure the Leafs could use some goal scoring like that. Somebody with a lot of patience around that goal net. One thing about Hodgson, he's always been a point getter, a goal scorer, and he's certainly doing the job again.
6:31, the time remaining in the first period. 2 quick goals by the Canadian team. Basson and Hodgson. And the Canadians are out in front by a score of 2-0. Bobby Dallas dumps it in as the Canadian team does some strong forechecking now, trying to create another turnover in that Soviet zone. It was that forechecking and persistence that paid off in the second goal. And an icing call here against the Soviets.
Well, there's no question that the Canadians are bigger and stronger than the Russians are as the Russian coach collects his thoughts. But the thing there is, how is the refereeing going to be? What kind of officiating do the Canadians expect? So far, the Canadians have been playing rather clean hockey, but they have been hitting, and the Finnish referee has not called any unnecessary penalties, which is very important.
From the face-off, Risher with a shot, the rebound, and Corson just split it wide. Corson feeding it in the slot, a shot, and it just went wide. Corson working into the corner. Loses the puck, and it's brought back out by the Soviets. Svirshov working in. He's upset as the two Canadian defensemen just stood their ground, and Bobby Dallas clears it up on the wing. Loose puck in the center ice area. Back come the Soviets. Semak to Papageyev. Papageyev is taken out of the play by Odeline. Loose puck in the corner. Corson moving along the boards, and finally gets the whistle and forces the face-off with 5:33 remaining in this opening period. 2-0, Canada leads.
Shane Corson, who plays junior for the Hamilton Steelhawks, another one of the high draft choices for the Montreal Canadiens. He's playing left wing here. He can play center also. In fact, they say he moves the puck a little bit better as a center iceman. Dan Hodgson gave you the thumbs up. Excited about the period. I'm going to be talking to him during the intermission. Check out the good feelings of the Canadian Hockey Club so far.
Well, I'm sure there are good feelings right now for this hockey team as they lead by a score of 2-0 in that other important game that's taking place today in Helsinki. In the first period, no score between the Finns and the Czechs. Loose puck in the Canadian zone, and Kamensky unable to get a shot away as it's dumped down the ice. Posmetiev races back after it. Posmetiev has knocked off the puck. Bradley unable to come up with it. It's loose, and the Soviets come back. Pass on the wing for Kamensky. In across the line. He's taken in heavily against the boards by Odeline, and then Odeline stepped into Chernik and sent him flying. Adam Creighton now bringing it back into Soviet territory. Another good hit along the boards, this time by John Miner as he steps into Kamensky. And now the Canadians are beginning to use the body very effectively.
Don, that's what we were talking about. The Canadians have played bigger and stronger than all the other hockey clubs have, and if they use their size to their advantage, it'll certainly help their play, especially as games wear on.
Sandlak dumping it up along the boards, a race for the loose puck. Beloshikin way out of his net, flipping it to the boards. Hodgson manages to come up with it. Now it's Park, giving it to Basson. Basson feeding it back to the point to Miner, and popped over his stick. A race for the loose puck, and Miner is able to get back there for it. However, Kaderov picks it up along the boards, brings it in. He's bodied, and then Basson is taken into the boards by Turgeyev, and there's some bumping in that Canadian zone. Whistle on the play, and the penalty coming up.
So the Canadians have the lead of 2 goals, one by Basson and one by Hodgson, but they're going to be in the penalty box. Here's one of the big hits. Watch Odeline. He's a big, strong defenseman. He's got the size. You have to use it. Bang. That's not the penalty, as the Russians are going to get an opportunity again to take a power play advantage.
15-25, Canada, number 26, Jim Charlotte, 2 minutes for sticking.
Drawing the high sticking penalty with 4:15 remaining in this opening period. It's 2-0, Canada leading the Soviet Union. Barry from the face-off, trying to get it out of there. Grushenko keeps it in. Now back to the point to Grushenko. Grushenko to Nikitin, his shot high over top of the net. Flipped up along the boards by Barry. He gets it again and clears it down the ice.
Again, lots of strength in front of that Canadian net. These 5 defensemen for the Canadians certainly aren't showing any wear from the game last night. Lots of mental quickness out there, which certainly helps.
Turgeyev for Kadarov. He was unable to control it, and Turgeyev circles back into center ice, trying to organize the attack again. He backhands it into the Canadian zone. Odeline gets it, tries to clear it, kept in by Nikitin. Turgeyev racing into the corner, and the puck deflects high up over the boards and out of play. 2-0. The Canadians leading the Soviets with 3:25 remaining in this opening period. Basson started the scoring for Canada. A slap shot from the point, and then forechecking produced another goal for Canada as the Soviets coughed up the puck in their own zone, and Hodgson at the side of the net flipped it in for a 2-0 advantage. The Canadians now playing a man short as Sandlak is in the penalty box. From the face-off, Yves Baudouin goes back into his own zone. Dumps it down the ice. Kravchuk back there trying to organize the attack for the Soviets. The Canadians doing a good job so far of killing off this penalty. Svershov brings it in across the line, and the Soviets are offside.
Again, we can see the Soviets are allowed to come out by the Canadians. They allow the Russian hockey club to come right out as much as possible. Not much emotion on the Russian bench, that hockey club. People never do show too much emotion. I wonder if the fellow without the helmet on his face is ready to go on the ice. If I was the coach, I'd wonder.
From the face-off, fired deep into Soviet territory by Bassin. He's been quite a role player for this Canadian team. Now back come the Soviets. Svershov working to the line, tried to flip it in, picked off by Bobby Dallas, and he shoots it back into Soviet territory with 27 seconds left in the penalty. And the Canadians dropping back. Semak working his way out, in across the line, still controlling it. Semak tries to cross ice. It bounces off a stick. He gets it back again, dropping it off to the point. Posmetьев with a shot. Glove save, and Billington hangs on for a face-off with just 6 seconds remaining in the penalty to Sandlak, and 2:21 in the period. 2-0 Canada leads.
Well, the Russians certainly have not had very many shots on goal, and even though Billington juggled that a little bit, it was a good save through traffic. You can see him concentrating, had his head down. Now the Russians trying 2-on-1 the one forward here, Sandlak. See how they move the puck back and forth? That's a 2-on-1. Now they have nothing else to do but shoot the puck as he's forced, and nobody really close to pick up that rebound from the goaltender, Billington. Good work by the Canadian penalty killing unit again.
Face-off to the right of Billington. Creighton against Chernik. Chernik gets the draw. It comes back to the point to Nikitin. Nikitin with a backhand shot. It goes wide. Odeline trying to hold it against the boards. Barry also comes in as Sandlak steps out of the penalty box, so the Canadians effectively have done another good job of killing off the penalty. 2:11 is the time remaining in this opening period. 2-0, Canada in front on goals by Bassin and Hodgson. Both teams with identical records of 4 wins and no losses. Barry from the face-off dumps it into the neutral zone. Along the boards, Frasco knocked off the puck by Barry. Creighton gets it for Canada. Creighton crosses center ice, tried to flip it up on the wing for Hodgson. Knocked back to the neutral zone by the Soviets, and then immediately dumped in by Canada. Fired down the ice. Long pass intended for Kamensky, too far for him, and as Odeline gets back to touch it, icing is called against the Soviets. Selmar Odeline, drafted by the Edmonton Oilers, and of course their chief scout Barry Fraser is here watching the activity in both Turku and Helsinki. Face-off back in the Soviet zone with 1:42 remaining in this first period. 2-0 Canada leading the Soviet Union. Dan Hodgson is out there with Lemieux and Richer. A shot from the point, and Beloshakin came out of his net to deflect it high to the glass behind the goal. Hydarov now trying to move out of there. He's knocked off the puck by Lemieux. It's fed ahead. Baudouin tried to feed it across for Grattan. Grattan goes to the corner, gets it to Lemieux. Lemieux working against a couple of Soviets, trying to move that puck out front. Now Grattan comes in to help out. Into the slot for Hodgson. Hodgson going to his forehand at the side of the net. They jam away at it, and Beloshakin gets a pad out on top of it, as Lemieux had a great opportunity there, as Canada came very close to making it a 3-0 game with 1:08 remaining in this opening period. Again, that persistent forechecking of The Canadian team forced the Soviets to give up that puck in their own zone. And Hodgson making a couple of good moves, working towards the net, slides it over to Lemieux, and as he took a shot, Beloshakin slid out to get a piece of it and then cover up. The all-star goalie in last year's tournament, Evgeny Beloshakin, in goal tonight for the Soviets. 2-0 Canada leading. Barry with a drive from the point. Beloshakin got a piece of it to deflect it, and it's dumped out into the neutral zone. The Canadians fire it back in. Stéphane Richer going in there, forechecking for the Canadians. Loose puck at the line as Johnson missed his swipe at it, and it bounces back into the center ice area. Now, Canada attempting to go to the attack again with Corson. He had difficulty controlling that puck in the center ice area. Finally, it's flipped in. Richer racing into the corner after it. The Soviets get there first, play it up along the board to Papageyev, and he deflects it to center ice with 30 seconds remaining in this opening period. Canada in front by a score of 2-0. Brashenko circles back of his own net. Long pass into the center ice area, picked off by Johnson. Johnson then lost it to Semak. Semak goes rink wide with it. He's taken out of the play by Barry, and Odeline brings it out into the neutral zone. He overskated it there with just 6 seconds remaining. Wendell Clark and Hodgson try to move it along the boards. It comes to the other side, and Johnson dumps it down the ice as the siren sounds to end the first period. And the Canadians with a very good opening period as they jump in front of the Soviets by a score of 2-0. Basson and Hodgson, the marksman for the Canadians. Craig Billington, the goaltender for Team Canada, with just a couple of really tough saves in that opening period. But he kept the Soviets off the score sheets as the Soviets Period 2, about set to get underway. Canada leading by a score of 2-0. Basson, who started things off for Canada in the circle, forcing it into the Soviet zone. Now Rasko tries to go rink wide, broken up by Bob Dulles at the blue line. It's dumped back into Soviet territory. The Soviets playing it out to the neutral zone. Barry is back there for the Canadians. His pass picked off. Kamensky tried to bring it in across the line, and some good back-checking on the part of Basson broke that up. Now it's flipped up along the board. Sandlak deflects it out into the center ice area, and the Soviets go back into their own zone attempting to regroup. Rink-wide pass intended for Rasko, picked off by Barry as he tied up the Soviet winger. Now it's Chernak. Rink-wide for Kamensky, looking for Rasko cutting in on the right side. Barry took Kamensky out of the play. Dulles flipped it up along the boards. It's dumped back in by the Soviets. And the play is whistled down as they force that face-off in the Canadian zone.
We talked about Bob Dulles in the opening. Now, it's got to be very, very difficult for him to not play a minute in actual action as far as games go this year, as he was with the Winnipeg Jets all year, not playing, not even dressing for the games. But the coaching staff have been very impressed how he's gotten better each night. And what he does is he stays at home. He's a defenseman that does the job in his own end of the ice. Not too fancy, and this is what you need from a hockey club. You know, just get the job done, especially against the Russians.
Face-off to the right of Craig Billington in goal for the Canadian team. Loose puck. Selmar Odeline behind his own goal. He dodges a check from Kamensky, puts it up. Kept in by Kravchuk. The puck loose in the Canadian zone. Finally, it's picked off by Odeline. And as he tried to bring it out across the line and did, it was knocked back in by the Soviets, producing a whistle for an offside call.
We can talk about shots on goal in the first period. The shots were 8-4 in favor of the Russians, or excuse me, of the Canadians. And that's what Terry Simpson wants. He wants his club to do the job in his own end. He knows they have very good, skilled forwards that score goals. And so far his theory has worked to a T.
At the line, Novosolov working in, and the Soviets hauled on the offside. A full house watching the action here in the Turku Ice Hall. It would almost seem that the majority of the fans are supporting the Canadian team.
Oh, they certainly are.
Our coverage of this very important game at the World Junior Championships in Turku, Finland continues after this. 1:53 is the time remaining here in the second period. Canada leading by a score of 2-0. No scoring in this second period thanks to some outstanding penalty killing by Canada. They killed off Minor, Johnson, Dallas, Minor, and Basson. As a matter of fact, provided the Soviets with only one or two really good scoring opportunities while playing a man short.
Hell of a job, Jarmo. Hell of a job.
Face-off just inside the Canadian blue line. It's dumped out into the neutral zone, and the Soviets had two wingers in deep. They were trapped.
All the way.
Nikitin had to wait for them to get back onside, and then he flipped it up over the glass and out of play. Craig Billington, a native of London, Ontario, playing for the Belleville Bulls and drafted in the second round by the New Jersey Devils. So far, shutting the door on the Soviets. 1:47 is the time remaining in the second period. Bob Dallas back into his own zone. Goes rink wide to Bourgoin. He dumps it in. Racing into the corner after it is Nikitin up along the boards for Svirshoff. He couldn't get it out on his first attempt and goes to the other side for Nikitin. Nikitin trying to clear it. It's knocked down by the Canadians. Dumped into the corner. Corson takes the Soviet player in heavily against the boards and comes back out to center ice. Johnson brings it in over on the right side, but it's whistled down offside as Richer took that pass on the right wing, but Corson was trapped offside. After two periods in that other game between two of the undefeated teams, Finland leads Czechoslovakia 1-0. That game taking place in Helsinki. 1:15 is the time left here in the second period. 2-0 Canada ahead of the Soviet Union. Odeline with a long shot. Beloshakin steers that to the corner. Grushenko flipping it up along the boards. It bounces out into the center ice area. Now it's Chernik circling back into his own zone as we move into the final minute of this second period. Puck dumped into the Canadian zone and then flipped back out and brought back in by the Soviets, producing an offside call. K.Lemьe, number 2 draft choice by the Montreal Canadiens in 1983. Drawing on assist on the second Canadian goal scored by Hodgson.
No hurry. Okay.
Now Lemieux lining up against Kamensky of the Soviet Union, and the two of them, as they awaited this face-off, did a bit of bumping over there, drawing a caution from the linesman. Puck comes back into the Canadian zone to Berry. Berry, a lead pass for Hodgson. It's deflected down into Soviet territory. Grattan steps into the Soviet player Grushenko and sent him flying in the corner. Comes back into the center ice area. Selmar Odeline flips it into the Soviet zone. 26 seconds remaining in period 2. It's 2-0. Canada leading the Soviets. Lemieux attempted to shoot it in, and it deflected off a stick and into the Canadian bench. 20 seconds remaining here in period 2 as Coach Terry Simpson makes a line change. His Canadian troops leading the Soviets by a score of 2-0.
Hold the wingers. Hold the wingers.
Canada with previous victories over Sweden, Poland, West Germany, and the United States. Their toughest game so far against the United States last night. Twice they had to come from behind. Now it's Bobby Dallas dumping it down the ice after taking a look at the clock. Nikitin goes back into his own zone, being bothered there by Basson. Here's a chance for Canada as it came loose in front, and Johnson's shot right on with Beloshakin making the save just as the siren sounds. And the Canadian players out to congratulate Craig Billington on a strong performance through 40 minutes. So far, he has shut out the Soviets, and after 2 periods, Canada continues to lead by a score of 2-0. John Davidson now is standing by downstairs. The third period just underway, and the Canadians with a chance. Wendell Clark with a drive. It just sails wide. Puck ricochets off the boards to center ice. Bob Dallas feeds a pass ahead for Clark. Clark couldn't go anywhere with it. He dumps it down into the Soviet zone. Sandlak racing into the corner for Basson, and Basson was knocked off the puck by Nikitin as he tried to deflect that centering pass. Now Bob Dallas back into his own zone, attempting to play it off the board, shot it into the Team Canada bench. Vladimir Kaselev, the Soviet coach, talking to his troops as the Canadians make a line change. And I think in this third period, we'll see Coach Terry Simpson is attacking units to very short shifts. Fired back into the Canadian zone. Selmar Odeline from the face-off, moving up along the boards with Claude Lemieux. They bring it out into the center ice area. Here's a chance now for Grattan, breaking in on the left side, but it crossed 2 lines, and it's whistled down on the offside.
We take a look at Dan Grattan. You know, he's played 3 years of junior, and he's not even drafted yet. He will be one of the higher drafts in the country of Canada this season. One of the Oshawa Generals junior hockey players, and a good one too.
Puck fired deep into the Canadian zone. Vosalev trying to center it, intercepted by the Canadians, brought back out to center ice, and the Soviets trying to go to the attack again. A pass picked off by Odeline. Lemieux fires it in back of the Soviet net. Good collision there with Grattan and Kravchuk. Here's a clearing attempt intercepted by Basson, and Basson doing a good job of forechecking for Canada. He has been one of the stars of this Canadian team in this battle with the Soviets. A drive by Grattan high over top of the net. Basson picks it up. Hodgson now working to the corner. To the line. Gayev is upset. Fired in deep by Lemieux. And the puck is deflected over the boards and out of play.
We're talking
18:27, sorry John, remaining in the third period.
John, we were talking about the draft choices available for the Canadian club. We talked about Wendell Clark. He's going to be a very high draft choice from the Saskatoon Blades. We talked about Dan Grattan a minute ago from the Oshawa Generals, and Jim Sandlak from the London Knights. They're the only 3 players in the club that haven't been signed to a pro contract or drafted, that are draftable, let's put it that way.
In the center ice area, Corson dumps it into the Soviet zone. Nikitin goes back after it, producing another icing call against Canada. The face-off back in the Canadian zone. The 2 goals scored in the first period. Basson from Clark at 12:50. Hodgson from Lemieux at 13:25. On the face-off, a shot by Svershot and a glove save by Billington as that one was labeled for the top corner.
You can see the concentration on the goaltender in the net as he sweeps his crease clean. He looks down at his skates. Total concentration is what's important. And again, not many shots on goal by the Russians, but when they do get them, they're pretty good ones.
Semak in the face-off circle. He and Johnson, or Basson, I should say, exchange a few words.
It's the doctor for this Team Canada Hockey Club.
Dr. Rudy Gittins from Ottawa, looking after the ailments of the Canadian team, and they have had a few in the last couple of games. Again, a face-off in the corner. Soviets pressing, trying to get their first goal of the game, but so far they have been unable to solve goaltender Craig Billington.
Terry Simpson trying to get his players as emotional as the fans are here in the Turku Ice Hall. I'm sure he does not want his club to take as many penalties as they did in the second period. They'll run out of gas one way or the other, but they've certainly shown their mark and played well this hockey game.
Adam Creighton gets the draw to Bradley. Bradley in the center ice area had it poked away by Papagayev, and the Soviet player on the right side was ahead of the play offside.
With this many whistles, Don, in this type of a hockey game, that has to slow the Soviet Union Hockey Club down. It also rests that Canadian team a lot. We looked at Dr. Gittins a few minutes ago, and he's been busy with his Team Canada players, lots of bumps and bruises with them, and need lots of ice time and lots of slow time, stoppage and plays to get your wind back.
Now the Canadian team will be looking forward to the day off tomorrow. They'll be traveling to Helsinki immediately after this game in preparation for the final 2 games of the tournament on Monday against Finland and on Tuesday, New Year's Day, against Czechoslovakia. They fight for it along the boards. The Soviets come up with it. A shot from a bad angle, the save by Billington. Now Grushenko goes into the corner, flipping it around the boards to the other side. Kravchuk to Turgeyev. Turgeyev feeding it in front, and the Soviet player in front of the net was tied up and unable to deflect it. Puck dumped down the ice, back into Soviet territory. Kravchuk goes behind his own goal. Bradley forcing the play. He and Creighton doing some forechecking now. Dumped out into the center ice area. It's broken up by Baudouin. Loose puck now. Posmetьев feeding it on an open wing. Brought in by the Soviets and then cleared back to center ice. The Soviets shoot it back into Canadian territory, and as it's touched by Barry, icing is charged against the Soviet Union.
Don, you were talking about the day off tomorrow for the Canadian Hockey Club. They're going to have a little bit of a party tomorrow. They did play on Christmas Day. They drawn names out of hats, and each player has an allowance of 50 marks to buy the name a gift for a Christmas present. I guess 50 marks is about $5 Canadian money. And then tomorrow night they'll be going to the Canadian Embassy in Helsinki, so it should be an enjoyable time.
Barry with a shot from the point, and the save is made by Beloshaken with 16:23 remaining. In front, a shot by Grattan as he took that pass in the slot, but he had 2 defenders in front of him between he and the goaltender and hit one of them. Now it's dumped into the Soviet zone. Canada coming very close twice to increasing its advantage to 3-0. Lemieux bumping with Kamensky in the corner. Grattan comes in there to help out. The puck loose. Grattan trying to feed it out front. Beloshaken sprawling to poke it away, and the Soviets come back. Now it's Kamensky at the line trying to split the defense. He's taken out of the play by Baudouin, and it's dumped up along the boards for Johnson. Johnson for Hodgson. Hodgson in behind the Soviet net. As he touched it, it was an offside call.
On that last play, the goaltender ended up sprawling all over the ice, and that's exactly what the scouting report said for the Canadian Hockey Club, is to do with the Soviet Union Hockey Club. The Canadians had a good flurry going around the goalkeeper, and once the Russians got control of the puck, they came up the ice, and they had 2 men that had control of the puck, and it ended up the Canadians had 4 men back there. Again, Don, the Canadians are outnumbering the Russian Hockey Club in the Canadian zone. That back-checking's really worked well.
Well, they were guilty of failing to do that back-checking in the first 2 periods last night against the United States. Selmar Odeline behind his own goal, playing it around on the boards for Minor. A pass on the left wing. Back to Richer. Richer with a shot, and way out of his net to make the save was Beloshaken. Now it's Shane Corson with Johnson fighting for it along the boards. It comes loose, and the Soviets have it. Novoselov at the line. Turgeyev went way ahead of the play offside. It's brought back in by Novoselov, but Turgeyev had not vacated the offensive zone.
Soviets guilty of offside again. Now what they've done, they've had a lot of trouble coming over that Canadian blue line as a unit, and they're either been offside or else they've been trying to dump that puck in. The Canadians are really showing patience as far as the Russian system goes and frustrating them, and the Russians just don't seem to get anything going. They can't get a real good pattern or flow to their play going, much as we're used to as far as flows with the Soviet Union goes.
Well, we saw their game against Sweden yesterday, and they certainly had things going in that one as they won by a score of 5-1. In the center ice area, Hodgson doing some forechecking now. He's enforcing the play at that Soviet line. 14:47 the time remaining here in this third period. Canada in front by a score of 2-0. Baudouin dumps it down to the line, broken up there by the Soviets. Semak brings it in. Semak working against Dallas, trying to go around him. Dallas forces him to the corner. Puck comes up along the boards. Grattan trying to get it out. It slides to the line, and here's a chance for Canada. Hodgson with Lemieux. Hodgson going to the goal, and he was having difficulty there with Vershov, and there's going to be a penalty coming up against the Soviets. The first time that Team Canada will have a power play. Baudouin with a shot right on, and as it's touched by the Soviets, the whistle goes, and the Soviets are drawing their first penalty of the hockey game.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how the Canadian club does on this particular power play. The Semak is going to get the hooking penalty, I believe. Now, the power play of the Canadian Hockey Club, they have two separate units out there. One is basically quarterbacked by Creighton, and the other one basically quarterbacked by Hodgson. And it should be interesting. They need the goal. They can't get too obvious with their play offensively. You can't slow things down too much. They want to make sure they don't give up anything also done.
Alexander Semak in the penalty box. That penalty coming at 5:50 of this third period. First opportunity we have had to see the Canadian power play in action in this game. From the face-off, it comes back to the point to Clark. He's got a great shot. This one, however, deflects off a stick and out of play.
Well, this is the only time you'll see Clark basically playing defense during the hockey game. It will be on the point, on the power play. He scored a goal, a very key goal at the start of the third period last night against the American Hockey Club, as he came off the bench, went down the ice and used a wrist shot from the top of the slide. And I'll tell you, he's a strong young man, and that's why they use him back there for the point shots.
Wendell Clark, born in Kelvington, Saskatchewan. He went to Notre Dame College in Wilcox. He was with that fine Notre Dame Hounds team, one of the outstanding midget teams in the country. Now in the corner, Creighton trying to set things up. Feeds it in. Richer back to the line. Clark with a drive. It hit a leg in front. Richer feeding it in front to Creighton with his big reach. He scores!
There's a difference in this hockey game. The power play, Terry Simpson looking up at the clock, checking the times, and again the emotions of the Canadian Hockey Club. Watch the goaltender on this play. I think he expected Creighton to pass the puck back out across the crease. Now, pretty good control. You can see the strong Canadian players all around that goal crease. Now, Creighton's going to get control, and the goaltender stays so deep in his net, it's absolutely incredible. Now, whether Creighton's going to pass this or shoot this, I don't know. Look at the goaltender down. The puck's inside the goal post, and the Canadians have a big, big goal that gives them a 3-goal cushion here in the third period.
Adam Creighton with a 3-goal performance last night in that 7-5 win for the United States. Goal number 3 for Team Canada here against the Soviet Union. That goal coming in 6:19 of this third period. Stefan Richer drawing the assist on that goal as it's dumped into the Soviet zone again. So the Soviets now will have to take some chances. They trail by 3 with 13:26 remaining. They'll be forced to open things up more than they usually like to do. Puck dumped out into the center ice area. Rashenko played it off the boards back into the Canadian zone. Bob Dallas goes rink wide with it to Barry. Two of them could be teammates in the future with the Winnipeg Jets. Both have been drafted by the National Hockey League club. Barry at the University of North Dakota. Turgeyev tried to bring it in. He was knocked off the puck. It goes loose in the center ice area, and Team Canada brings it back and shoots it into the Soviet zone. 12:47 remaining in the third period. 3-0 Canada leading. Here's the drive that just sails wide as Baudouin let that slap shot go from the point. Then Baudouin steps into Grushenko at the line for Lemieux. Lemieux to Hodgson. Hodgson scores!
Well done. I was looking at the bench, and when that goal went in, Terry Simpson grabbed his fist and he flung his arm in the air, and there's another key goal for this Canadian Hockey Club. Happiness is scoring a goal, and again, a good pass work. Look at Hodgson, take a look. Look at that room over there on the stick side, and the goal scorer made no mistake at all. He just picked that corner perfectly inside the post. Soviet Union goaltending has not been that good, but again, good shots by the Canadian Hockey Club, and their third periods are showing up again. Look at this goaltender way over to one side, a perfect shot inside the post. We've got a 4-0 hockey game in favor of the Canadian Hockey Club.
2 goals in the first period, a scoreless second period as Team Canada killed off 4 successive penalties. And now here in the third, 2 quick goals at 6:19 and 7:29 by Creighton and Hodgson, and it's 4-0 Canada.
Third periods have been a key for this hockey club so far in this tournament. Sweden, they were only beating them 3-1 after 2 periods, won 8-2. Last night they were losing after 2 periods, came back for a big win, and another good third period here tonight.
Bradley poking it in the corner to Odeline, dumped up along the boards into the center ice area. Grushenko back to Chernik, to Kamensky. Creighton forces him back into his own zone. A loose puck at center ice. Canada comes up with it. Pass on the right side for Bradley. Bradley looking for Creighton at the goal. Oh, they score! Beloshakin undoubtedly concerned with Creighton cutting in from the left side on that centering pass by Bradley. I don't think Creighton at all touched it. It deflected off Beloshakin, and it's 5-0.
Well, the goaltender knew he made a huge mistake again. He skated directly over to the bench, and they're making a change. But watch how the goaltender just drops on the play, goes off the inside or the backside of his left leg into the nets. This Canadian club is going to wear themselves out coming off the bench every time they score a goal. Again, you're right, Don. Maybe expecting the pass, but the goaltender has no business dropping like that. And the Canadians are really taking it to this Russian hockey club in the third period.
Pointed out, the Canadian team has been very strong in the third period in all of the games they have played, and they've scored 3 goals here in this third period in less than 2 minutes. 6:19, 7:29, and 8:11 the times of the goals by Creighton, Hodgson, and Bradley.
Now, let's not forget that, sure, they might win this hockey game. They're up 5 goals, but they have to keep it going for the simple reason that goals for and against mean something if the teams are tied at the end of their round-robin tournament. So they have to keep pumping the goals and be concerned with not giving any up, Don.
Well, the Soviets had a slight edge, 27-25, in the goal differential situation coming into this game, but that has certainly changed now with Canada jumping into this 5-0 lead. Now it's Johnson working against Novoselov. He forces him off the puck, and in the center ice area, the Canadians take control and then quickly lose it as the Soviets try a long pass up to the Canadian line that crossed 2 lines, and they're called on the offside pass. 5-0 Canada leads, and we'll return to Turku, Finland after this.
Look at the new goaltender, Bratаш, who was sharp. He skated out for the delayed penalty. That means he's emotionally involved, but the Canadians, Bob Basson takes his second minor of the hockey game. The Soviet Union will get their chance again on the power play. Take a look at where it happens. You can see the stick underneath and checking in front of the net.
So into the penalty box goes Basson, and Bratаш in goal for the Soviet Union, replacing Beloshakin here in the third period. 11:05 is the time remaining. Another power play situation for the Soviet Union, but so far the Canadian team has done an excellent job of killing off these penalties. Finally, the puck comes back to the line. Volikov circling in the corner to Grushenko. Over to the other side to Kravchuk. His shot sails wide of the goal. Galavikov dumping it off into the corner. It goes loose in front of the net. The Canadians finally gain possession and they clear. Well, it's 5-0 here. Canada leading the Soviet Union. The last report we had from Helsinki, it was 1-1 in the game between Finland and Czechoslovakia, the two other undefeated teams in the tournament. Off the end boards, the puck slides in front of the net, and Craig Billington covers up, and there's going to be a penalty here, I guess, against the Soviet Union, as there was some jamming in front of that Canadian net. One of the Soviet players, after Billington had frozen the puck, attempted to poke it away from him, and then he high-sticked the Canadian defender who came to Billington's aid. So Svershov is going to the penalty box.
John, we were talking about action penalties and reaction penalties. Well, here's where the Soviet Union find themselves in trouble. Now, the puck popped loose here. Now, we'll see the hit right here. Now, watch the Russian player react. The referee, you can see him skating into the play. He's right on top of it. And that's called a reaction penalty. Not a smart thing to do. And again, even though the Russian hockey team is down 5-0 in this hockey game, those goals for mean something in this tournament. Not a good penalty to take for the Russian squad.
So the teams are back at even strength. 1:04 is the time remaining in the penalty to Basson. 4 skaters out there for each side. Rasko for the Soviets working to the line. He has it poked away from him. Bratton dumps it back to center ice. Now on the wing, Posmetьев in across the line, still controlling it, finally loses it. Here's a chance for Rasko as he picked up that loose puck, and Billington stood his ground on the short side.
It almost appeared that that Soviet Union player shot that puck quickly out of fear, as if he was going to get hit in front like the Canadian defensemen have done all game. But again, the goaltender right on the perfect angle.
Hodgson has lost his stick in the corner, but managed to kick it back to the point. And now Dawes comes off, and Miner goes out there for Canada. In 18 seconds, Canada will have the manpower advantage as Basson will be out of the penalty box. Chernak trying to slide it in front. He had it taken away by Odeline. Odeline lost control of it at the line, and as he touches it again, 2 players had preceded him across that Soviet blue line offside. 3 seconds remaining in the penalty to Basson, 48 seconds remaining in the penalty to Shursov. So Canada will have a 45-second manpower advantage with 9:08 remaining in this third period.
This Canadian club doing a super job. You know, this Soviet Union Hockey Club have won this tournament 6 out of the last 8 years. They're the defending champions. In fact, Canada came 4th last year. What a tremendous improvement, and what a great show they put on representing the country of Canada.
Now the Canadians will enjoy the man advantage as it's brought down by Kravchuk into the Canadian zone. Broken up by Canada. Creighton works his way across the blue line. Rink-wide pass for Richer. Richer works to the corner. The puck goes loose as he was tied up along the boards by Kravchuk. Now it's Grushenko. It comes back in front. Creighton couldn't get a good shot away. Tried to slide it between the defenseman's legs, and it was broken up by the Soviets and brought back down the ice. The puck slides to the Canadian goal. Billington covers up with 10 seconds remaining in the penalty to the Soviet player Shursov. 8:30 remaining in the game. 5-0 Canada leads.
I guess that pretty well says it all with the Soviet player with his head down. Now, what Simpson likes to do with his hockey club when they get up in the third period like that, he wants his club to move that puck ahead. Keep it moving ahead. Don't regroup. Don't try and get fancy with the passing skills. Move it ahead, and that keeps your club right out of trouble.
Face off to the left of Craig Billington. In the event that game should wind up in a tie in Helsinki between Czechoslovakia and Finland, that would move Canada all alone to the top of the standings. A long drive by Nikitin from outside the blue line that Billington had to react quickly to get his pad on. On the left side, the pass for Jackson, but he was offside.
Jeff Jackson was bumped a number of times in this hockey game. He's persevered and come right through. You know, with him being sent down to the minors, he's certainly kept his head about him. He was playing earlier in Toronto and doing very well.
Well, as you can see, a large number of Canadian fans here in Turku, Finland, and certainly enjoying what they are seeing as Canada leads the Soviet Union 5-0. Now it's Berry going back of the net. Flipping it up along the boards. Puck comes loose in front of the Canadian goal, and Miner goes to the attack. For Corson, a long shot that Bratаш drops on and holds for a face-off in the Soviet zone with 7:52 remaining in the game.
There's a little smiling sweetheart here from Finland enjoying the hockey game, and it's kind of a different style of a country over here. There's only 4 or 5 hours of sunlight here in Finland during the day, and the people have been very friendly and very warm towards the CBC crew and the Canadian Hockey Club. It's really been enjoyable.
Well, because of its northern location. Bobby Dallas with a shot. It hit the post. The Canadians thought it had gone in, but there was no red light. Some of them had thought that puck had gone into the net and then bounced out, but it hit the post and came flying back out.
Actually, a few of the Canadian hockey players thought that goal, or that shot on goal, actually went in, but it did just hit the goal post. Kind of a rude awakening for the young goalkeeper Bratаш. Look at this slap shot. Traffic in front. Very tough to stop the puck. And you can see Grattan, he thought the puck was in. And if he had maybe been a little more aware, he might have got the rebound.
A long shot. That is grabbed by Billington. He flips it in back of the net. Now Baudouin dumping it up along the boards for Lemieux. Lemieux trying to clear it. Finally they succeed in driving it down into the Soviet zone. The Soviets to the attack now with Rasko. Rasko taken in against the boards by Baudouin. Another heavy check by Baudouin. He has done some good bumping throughout the course of the game. 7:11 is the time left here in the third period. 5-0 Canada leading. Another good check. This time it was Johnson with Baudouin out there, and they were bumping the Soviet players. Creighton in across the line. Lost control of it. Vosilov couldn't go anywhere with it. Canada sliding it to the goal mouth as Creighton collides behind the goal with Grushenko. 6:47 is the time left. Canada leading 5-0. 2 goals in the first period. After a scoreless second, 3 more here in the third.
And not only is Terry Simpson doing well in the coaching ranks, his fill-in back at home in Prince Albert, Rick Wilson's got the Prince Albert Raiders 5-0 since Terry's been gone. And I imagine he's worrying about his club. Actually quite happy about it.
Saw the face-off circle. Adam Creighton attempting to take that shot on goal from the face-off. He was successful in doing just that last night and scored a goal against the United States. Turgeyev going for the goal, fed it off on the wing, the shot goes wide. Now Posmetiev at the point, dumping it into the corner. Odeline there, feeding it up along the wing, and it's dumped down the ice by Clark. Back into his own zone, Nikitin, playing it along the boards for Kaidarov. He's forced back as the Soviets, against that Canadian forechecking, retreat into their own zone, trying to set something up. Canadians aren't giving them the opportunity, however. Sandlak out there now. He dodges a check from Posmetiev at the blue line. The puck goes loose. Masson attempted to step into the Soviet player Levikov. Then it came loose to Wendell Clark, and he took a long drive that Bratаш steered to the corner. And Wendell Clark does some bumping in the corner. He takes the run at another Soviet player, knocking Semak off the puck. Clark picks it up at the line as he starts back for Canada. Clark dodges a check, working to the corner. Feeding it across the goal mouth, nobody there. And Levikov brings it back for the Soviet Union. 5:23 is the time remaining here in the third. 5-0. Canada leading. Levikov working it across the line. Play broken up, and Clark dumps it to the neutral zone.
Well, one of the strong parts of this Russian hockey team was their ability to play 60 minutes. Well, actually, it's been the Canadian club that have really persevered and really haven't taken a step backwards, Ron.
5:04 is the time left in the game. First period goals by Basson and Hodgson after a scoreless second period in which goaltender Craig Billington performed very well during 4 power play situations. Canada with 3 quick goals in the third. Creighton, Hodgson with the second, and Bradley. And that's the way it stands, 5-0. Team Canada leading the Soviet Union. And a final score from Helsinki, Finland and Czechoslovakia tying at 1. So Canada with a victory here will move into first place in the World Junior Hockey Championship standings. Lovikov now dumping it out into the center ice area. He takes a hit from Lemieux. Lost his stick in the process. Now a drive by Semak goes wide. Off the boards, it slides all the way back to the neutral zone. And a penalty is coming up against Lemieux. Lemieux had already gone to the Canadian bench before the play was whistled down by Jarmo Jalarvo of Finland.
Well, one thing about Lemieux, Claude loves to take the body. He's been doing it all hockey game. In fact, during the pregame warm-up, he was skating around, faking like he was going to run into the Soviet players as they skated by him around the center ice area. But they love to take the body, and sometimes you have to pay for it by taking penalties.
55, 23, Canada, number 21.
Now the Soviets have not had any success on the power play so far in this hockey game. Now Chernik in across the line. Kamensky tried to feed it back to the point to Posmetьев, and Shane Corson poked it away. And again, the Soviets go deep into their own zone to organize. Posmetьев flips it high into the Canadian zone. Bobby Dallas is taken in against the boards. The puck goes loose. Rasko back to the line to Nikitin. Nikitin with a shot. It's deflected wide. And the Canadian team attempting to clear it. Baudouin firing it over the bench and into the crowd. Well, a game that could ultimately decide the gold medal in the World Junior Hockey Championship will take place in Helsinki on New Year's Day as Canada plays Czechoslovakia, and you'll see that game on CBC television at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time.
It's going to be great to be part of that. This hockey club has grown very, very tight in a short time. Very emotional and tight club.
Posmetьев with a shot right on. And Billington covered up again. He has had an outstanding hockey game.
He certainly has done. On that last play, the Canadians lost the face-off, but once they lose that face-off, they're doing smart things. The defensemen clear people out in front, and Billington was able to handle that shot rather easily.
Turgeyev into the face-off circle against Basson. Tried to get it back to the line. They couldn't get a shot away. Basson works to the corner, having difficulties there with Turgeyev. Then Miner comes in. They do some bumping in that corner and some shoving after the whistle. But there'll be another face-off in the Canadian zone to the left of goaltender Craig Billington. 3:38 remaining in the game, 1:01 in the penalty. And on January 5th on Sports Weekend, you'll be able to relive many of the exciting moments from the Los Angeles Olympic Games as CBC presents the Golden Summer, a show you'll want to see on CBC television January 5th. Miner dumps it off the boards and down the ice as Posmetьев goes back for the Soviet Union. 3:28, the time remaining in the hockey game. 47 seconds left in the penalty. Lemieux off for Canada. Great hit by Odeline as he stepped into Kaiderov at the Canadian blue line. And once again, the Canadians dump it down the ice. Jackson is taken in against the boards with 27 seconds remaining in the penalty. Novoselov bringing it back for the Soviets, still has it, sliding it to the goal mouth, and it just slid wide. Turgeyev was trying to position himself in front of the net. Now it's Posmetiev sliding it to the side of the net, feeding it across. Nobody in position. Here's a chance now. Nikitin, a great save by Billington as Nikitin came in alone. And finally it's dumped down the ice, and there's a reaction by the Canadian player Beaudois, who took a slash from Nikitin. He swung back at him, but the referee did not call it. And the Canadian team again is back at full strength. Nikitin took a swing at Beaudois. Beaudois retaliated after that great save by Billington, but there was no penalty on the play.
And the referee was looking right at it. But what great goaltending the Canadians are getting from Billington. I tell you, his reactions are absolutely super. He's following up on a play. He's staying up on his feet. He's doing all the things right. And he seems to be getting stronger as the games are going on also, Don. And they're going to need that for the next 3 big games.
2:26 is the time remaining. 5-0. Canada leads the Soviet Union. This will be the 5th straight victory for Team Canada. And as we mentioned earlier, Finland and Czechoslovakia tying at 1, so Canada will move to the front of the World Junior Championship standings. A shot just goes wide. Svershov letting that drive go from just inside the blue line. Played up along the boards. To the line, but not out. Lavakov letting a shot go wide. Svershov working to the corner. He's knocked off the puck. It comes back to the point. Played into the side of the Canadian goal. Canadians trying to get it out of there, having some difficulty. Finally, it's cleared down the ice. Kravchuk going back for the Soviet Union to Semak. Semak to the attack for the Soviets. Semak fakes a shot at the line. He's knocked off the puck, and it's cleared again by Team Canada. Kravchuk going back for the Soviet Union. As he touches it, icing is called against Canada with 1:23 remaining in the game.
Well, the Canadians have to be proud of their performance during this hockey game. They haven't relaxed one bit, even though there's only 1:23 left here in the hockey game. And it's a real tribute to the coaching staff, to the players themselves. You know, they just got together early in December, and they've grown into a very close-knit hockey club. And it's wonderful to see.
Loose puck in the Canadian zone. Rasko is taken in against the boards by Sandlak. It comes out to Clark, and he simply dumps it into the neutral zone. Soviets again trying to break this goose egg as John Miner stepped into the Soviet player at the blue line. The play is whistled down. Miner and Chernik colliding at the blue line, and one player is going off. Chernik for sure, and perhaps Miner is going as well. That appears to be the case. Now Chernik skates away from the penalty box. Miner is going in, and now Chernik is going as well.
I would think every once in a while there is a language barrier problem. I didn't quite understand what they were going to do, but you know, this Russian team, as we said earlier, had been scoring 7.7 goals a game through their first 4 games, and again, it's a tribute to the Canadian squad. They haven't given up one, and we're late in the hockey game. It's really great development by this hockey club.
Puck in the Canadian zone. Richer plays it around the boards to Brad Berry. Berry gets it again, dumps it into the neutral zone. Posmetiev has knocked off the puck by Richer, and as a result, put himself offside, coming to the Canadian line.
Well, the last 8 years, you know, the Russians, as we said, had won 6 titles. They also had 1 bronze to go with it. And they're going to have to do some soul searching to get their squad back on track. And they've really been steamrollered by a much stronger physically Canadian hockey club.
42 seconds remaining in the hockey game. Bob Dallas attempted to clear it, flipped it up over the glass and out of play. The performance of the Canadian team in this one somewhat reminiscent of their victory over the Soviets in the 1981-82 World Championship game in Winnipeg, when they won by a score of 7-0. They did some outstanding hitting in that game, led by Troy Murray. Now with the Chicago Blackhawks, they've been getting some outstanding physical play in this game as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about some good goaltending in there too. At the key times and penalty killing, they've really come together almost as if by magic. They weren't that happy with their preseason or their exhibition games, but as Terry Simpson said, this team has just developed and come together almost like magic.
Loose puck in the Canadian zone, to the line. Grattan starts out, a pass over on the wing. Perry feeding it in front for Grattan. He couldn't get a stick on it. Soviets come back, led by Torgeyev. 14 seconds remaining in the game. A long shot steered to the corner by Billington. 10 seconds. And they've started the countdown and the celebration at the Canadian bench as the puck is flipped up over the glass and out of play. 8 seconds remaining, and the Canadians have their 5th straight in the bag, and they would lay out to shut out the Soviet Union, and it appears as though they're going to do it. Craig Billington has played an outstanding game for this Canadian team. He plays for the Belleville Bulls and is a draft choice of the New Jersey Devils of the National Hockey League. From the face-off, it was dumped out by Johnson. However, they'll perform that face-off over again as whistle went immediately. The puck was dropped. Something was amiss. Players moving into position now. Johnson into that face-off circle. Corson comes in to pick up that loose puck. He takes it to the boards. And that's the hockey game. Canada defeats the Soviet Union 5-0. And Canada moves into first place in the World Junior Championship standings. 2 goals by Hodgson. Single tallies by Adam Creighton, Brian Bradley, and Bob Bassett. It was 2-0 with 2 quick goals in the first period. The second period was scoreless, and then 3 goals in the third period in less than 2 minutes with some outstanding penalty